Welcome back to The Last Millennial. I'm Sarah Becci, your host and the producer and creator of the show, and I'm here with Jasper.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming.
I'm so happy to be here. Your little couch is so
My little
cutie.
couch. Thank you so much. Thank you. Disclaimer: Jasper and I are friends,
Yeah.
but
Wait.
what?
No, we're not.
You're like, wait.
No, I don't
You're like,
think so.
wait, who? What?
I'm like smiling like that's really.
and that's
cool
really,
that you
that's
think.
really cute that you think that.
No, yeah.
Another one of my fans is obsessed with me.
No. We met at the markets, and I was obsessed with you.
And I was obsessed with you.
She came in with like all these old records and all these old music magazines, and I was like,
did I?
Do you want to kiss? We should.
Do you wanna
I think
kiss?
we should kiss.
Love.
Do you want to hang out?
And we also have our friend Mally, who's also in the studio
Yeah.
audience helping me co-producer, our queen. Woo!
Woo!
So most people know you for Peace and Power Shop, which
yeah.
is your brand. You have designed merch for Conan Gray.
Yeah.
Halsey's worn one of your designs.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey Ratsula.
Mhm.
Who else?
Machine Gun Kelly.
Yes.
Just Royal and the Serpent.
Yes.
Which was so fun because we aligned so well aesthetically.
Yeah.
That I was like, she literally just took stuff from my shop and made it the merch.
That's sick.
She was like, I love this piece. I want my fans to have it as like a collab. And
Yeah.
I was like, you're so cool for that.
Yeah.
She was so sweet. Like, it means a lot to me to work so close with these people. Because they're so sweet, and I'm like, oh my god, like I also want to be you, and I look up to you, and to get to work so closely with them is like right now, I'm like, that's sick.
I'm excited because I'm gonna ask questions that I already know the answer to, but then I'm gonna be able to ask things that I haven't been able to ask you yet.
Oh, that's cool.
So I first want to start off with, I know Peace and Power Shop.
Yeah.
You've been around for a minute. You popped off on TikTok.
Yeah.
How did you first get involved in fashion design?
Oh my god. So I lived in New York, right? And upstate New York, 45 minutes from the city. There's this town called Middletown. And my friend had opened a crystal store there. And she was like, hey, come take photos for me. And I took photos of her grand opening. And there was a spot next door. It was a brick and mortar place. There was a bunch of shops, and hers was one of them. And there was a shop that was open. And it was $600 a month. And I was like, it was just on the weekends. And something in me, I feel like I'm very intuitive. Something in me was like, yes. I thought about the whole way home. I pictured the build out of the whole shop.
Wow.
And I was like, I need to do something in me is hell yes. I went back the next morning, drove all the way back up, and I put the deposit down and did it. I had just thought of Peace and Power Shop a couple of weeks before, 2 weeks before. Had no stock, no nothing, and had to build out the entire store, fashion just sort of like caught my attention, but I'd never done fashion before. And then when I came to LA, I was like, fashion. I hate this shit. I'm not doing this. There's no way I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And then I worked a restaurant job, and I was like, you know what I love? I love fashion.
I love fashion.
Yeah,
You're
it's
like, wait, just kidding.
Yeah.
Whoop, skirt. Gotta go back.
It just kept pulling me back to it. It was
Yeah.
never something I intended to do. So, but I always believe that like the right thing and the best thing happens, and I'm watching it sort of play out, and I'm like, I hope that this is going the right way.
And you've also talked about how the reason you are fell in love with clothing too is because of your transition, because things didn't fit you correctly, and you wanted to be able to wear something for yourself. Talk a little bit about that process.
Yeah. So like I use like these white tank tops. I'm literally wearing one right now.
Yeah, show it
I
off.
wear these like white tank tops, and they fit me so good. And that's like my main staple of the brand. Like, I just customize stuff. So I went for the like it already fits you right, and I customize it for you thing. But then I just really wanted that spirit of rebellion more in the clothes. It's more about literal visibility in the clothes of like this. I want very bold queer people to wear this. And I want people to be able to visibly see that you're queer when you're wearing it. And I think that's a reason that like these artists have been so attracted to the brand, because it's stage wear for the everyday person. It's just boldness and loudness and joy.
I love that.
You know?
Stage wear for the everyday person.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. I've seen people and I'll see them in public and I'm like, that's Jasper's. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone can like see someone from across the room and spot a design and say, I know exactly where you got that from.
I didn't mean to do it. And it still shocks me when people say that. You know, like the Conan Gray shirt, like it's such a simple design, but people that I don't even know anymore from my past where like I knew that you did that. And I was like, how? In a way, you know? It's still very surprising
because
to me.
you're living so deeply in your own truth. I love that you like follow your gut and you work with artists. Like one thing I love is how you are able to align your peace and power shop also with your music.
Yes.
You're working with queer artists. You're working with people that see your vision and are excited about the entire person of who you are. You're not like fitting yourself and then like into someone else's mold. You're like, this is what I'm bringing to the table.
And I don't think the brand could ever fit itself into a mold because the whole shit of the whole brand is, it's not that.
Yeah.
It is loud.
Yeah.
It's really colorful. It's the graffiti style. And what I love about graffiti is that it's like somewhere it's necessarily not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's very bold. And I find it very beautiful.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like a really good representation of queer people. Like people don't want them to be there, but it's one of my favorite parts about LA is the graffiti everywhere. I think it makes this city so beautiful.
Wow, I love that. You know? Oh my gosh, yeah. I never even thought about it like that.
Yeah.
It's there. It's not supposed to be there, but it somehow makes the city more beautiful.
Yeah.
Like Basquiat. I love Basquiat. So you're making fashion. You're popping off on TikTok. But how did your music journey come about? Because Jasper produces, writes music, is an incredible performer. Talk about where your journey began in that respect.
Yeah, I was one of those kids that from the day I was like able to speak and whatever, I knew I wanted to do music. And I still like, that is my spark of life. Like I have this tattoo that says dreams, and I got it when right out of high school because I was like, that is the driving force in my life. And that is what attracts me to other people too, is that energy of being a dreamer. And I just like I remember at my like third grade or whenever, did you guys do a thing in school where they were like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And every kid had to go up to the stage and be like, I want to be blank.
Oh my gosh, I didn't go up to a stage. It was definitely like a little like I'm writing on a piece of paper and like maybe it'll go on the classroom wall, you know.
It'll go on my parents'
and
fridge.
I feel famous. Yes, correct.
We had to like go up on the stage. It was like they got all the parents there. It was like a whole little thing. It was like a career day thing. And I remember going up on stage and I was like, I want to be a rock star. And I did like a little like, and all the parents were like eating it up. And I was like, I've just always, that's me. Yeah, I've just always known that. And that stuck in my head so well of like, yeah, that's always been the vibe. It's just where I live in my artistry, you know?
Yeah. I just love, it reminds me of when we were kids, you like going up on stage, we were so unapologetic when wanting to voice what we wanted to be when we grow up. And I think now with the oversaturation, like whether it's in the music industry, fashion industry, we're told if you're not good at this thing, then you shouldn't do it. Because there are people that are really talented at it and there's already so many people doing it. But I just love how you're doing more than one thing. You're like, I didn't study fashion, but it's something that I'm drawn to and I'm going to make art. And that's how art's going to present itself. I'm drawn to music. I want to make music. I'm going to do it and express myself. And I just like, I love that you didn't put yourself in a specific line of work and we're like, this is what I have to be and this is what I've been told to be. You're just doing whatever you want to create. Yeah.
And they fought each other for a long time. That's why I came to LA and I was like, there's no, like, I literally, like, took fashion out to the backyard and, like, and I was like, she went upstate. She went to a better place. Like, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I don't, my heart is not in it, you know? And now I see how I'm a designer overall. I am an artist overall. And I love fashion. I really do. And that was very hard for me to get in touch with because I was trans.
Yeah.
Before I transitioned, how am I going to like fashion if I can't put on a shirt? If I can't look at myself in the mirror and go, I feel great.
Yeah.
It was not possible. There was no way.
Yeah.
So it just sort of exploded right after I transitioned. Yeah. You know, and looking back, it has always been in there. But yeah, I think just like musically, I forgot what you said before. What was the thing you just said about
you have to be one thing?
Yeah. Like the music has always been like a very foundational part of what I do. And why I've gotten ahead so far in fashion is because I don't have that thing that's like, oh, you're not good enough. In music all day. You know what I mean? I'm like mixed.
You know too much. you know too much.
The mix has to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I see myself doing stuff that people are like, oh, he went to fashion school, he did whatever, I'm dressing Machine Gun Kelly. Not at all.
You're Ted Lassoing it.
I am throwing shit at the fan. People are coming up to me and giving me opportunities in fashion just because I'm putting myself out there. And it's taught me so much about music.
I love that.
And so much about getting a dream is that it's very difficult, but like how do you just relax? How do you just go for it? One of my favorite books, they say this thing. It's You're a Badass by Jen Sincero.
Ooh, I love that.
She says this thing like, if you were a literal alien and you got put in your body for like a one day on Earth, what would you do? What is your spark? And two, what is your like, what would you do? You'd be like, holy is that the sun?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're just, oh my God, you know what? I love making music. And oh my God, you know, I'm really good at like X. And what do you look like when you look at it through that view? And I feel like it's that same energy of like, I don't really care. I'm not good enough. An alien's not coming down here and going, and actually he's not really good enough at that. No, that's crazy. And it's just crazy to watch how far I've gotten in one by not limiting myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're not limiting yourself. I know that you have talked about how you're like too precious about music sometimes, and you wanted to not really want to share it. Yeah. And I was talking with Mally the other day about your vocals, and Mally was like, Jasper's vocals are unreal.
That's so nice.
But one
that's so
nice.
Nice.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. But one thing that like I've thought about too that I have never gotten the chance to ask you, when you started transitioning and your voice is changing and you have to learn how to work with it, what was that experience like? Because I think that's not something a lot of people talk about. It's not just about your voice now. It's about how am I going to perform? Like, it's not just about how I'm speaking and how I'm presenting myself in the world. I have this added layer of my performance as a person in the world and my performance on stage. So how did you cultivate that?
Oh my God. That's such a good question. Okay, like transitioning on my voice has been one of the hardest things I've ever done because it's your whole voice is changing. Like my head voice is something I still don't have. Like I do agree that it's a better voice than it ever was, and that's really fucking cool. I would never go back, you know? Like, but it has been really, really hard to just mentally. Like I told you I'm moving apartments now because I can't sing in mine. I feel like that helped to do with it. Of just like the confidence got knocked. Yeah. You know? And that is something that I really am excited to get back on my horse about because you can't deny that like spark. Yeah. Of no, that's who I am. You know?
How did you build that confidence? What were the steps? Were you just like, I have to do this every day, or was there some quote that inspired you? Was there some technique or some kind of discipline? Like, what was that process like?
I just naturally did it every day.
Got it.
That's why I'm saying I think the apartment has kind of killed my soul a little bit because I live above my manager, and it's a very old building. Yeah. So when I was a kid, I didn't have many friends, and you know what I mean? I would come home every day and play guitar and sing hours, and my voice got really good from that. You know what I mean? And now it's like exciting because I get to learn my voice, what it really will be forever, and in a way that I feel really comfortable in it for the rest of my life. And that's its own little thing. But the performance of it is like interesting too that you say that, because then that gets into like gender, like how people see me is like really different too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I'm given more respect as a man. Whoa. Like so much more respect just when I speak about any of my ideas. Even though I very clearly sound queer, I'm still like witnessing my privilege be like above women's or what I did have. It's insane. It's like,
what has that opened up for you?
I think it has helped me in my business a lot. Yeah. Because when I'm like, okay, so what I usually do is this and blah blah blah, we're gonna do this. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's just like, yes, sir. Because like if you talk knowledgeably or whatever enough about something, people just listen now. Wow. And I feel like with women, they're still just like, yeah, sure, maybe. Like that's gone now. It's crazy. Even people that have known me my whole life, like my aunts or something, I'll see this change, which ally, but also I'll see this change. I'll see this change, and I'm like, I remember after I transitioned, I was putting an umbrella up on the beach, and all of a sudden my aunt was sort of just like, yeah, like, let him do it. He's got it. And I was like, you're gendering me correctly, but in a very weird,
way.
like,
yeah.
And like she was all of a sudden just like, oh, he's got it. And it was, you could tell something so deep in her.
Yeah.
That was just like,
it was primal. It was
primal almost.
It was primal.
No, really, that was just like, he knows better than me now. And I was like, this is really crazy.
Yeah.
Like, no. Like, thank you, but no.
It's similar to the concept of when a girl like dyes her hair between blonde or brown, she's treated differently.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
With the level of intellect that people assume about her. They assume that she's dumber if she's blonde and more intelligent if she's brunette. Which I've seen people before, but like I haven't even thought of it from the perspective of when you're transitioning from one gender to another. The amount of inherent respect that you get from it.
It's so severe. Is so severe.
But then you also have your queerness you still have to prove in so many other ways. So it's like,
no, literally.
You're like, wait, I'm getting all of this privilege, but wait, I'm also like not in many ways.
No, because like what I say this with my partner all the time, like we'll talk about this type of stuff, especially when we're listening to like the Muna podcast, we'll pause it and be like, and another thing, because like when you're a woman or like you're a masked lesbian or something,
yeah,
you're not even like a person. People don't even see you as a person.
Yeah.
People don't even see you like that. And then if you're a man, all of a sudden you're policed in a different way because it's sort of like, don't be feminine, don't be, you know what I mean? You're supposed to be alpha.
You're learning all these new rules.
Yeah, there's a whole new rule book. And I'm also like, I'm not playing your rule book. You guys are like, you guys are like rotted. Like, I'm not a part of this. You know what I mean? And it's funny. And this is the trans men thing. You walk into a Starbucks and hear, what's up, boss? How are you, chief?
Really?
What can I get for you? My Lord and Savior, basically. Like, men are so, like, chief? What's up to each other? They're so, boss. And then women, it's like, how are you, hey, sweet girly. Little cupcake, fragile being? It's like, no, don't do that.
Slay queenie, mama slay. Mama slay queen.
Slay, baby. How are you? Do you need any help?
Yeah, that's so interesting. Yeah, the way that we treat people when they first walk in the room.
Like, what are you doing? It's crazy. Yeah.
So I'm glad that you found a lot of your sense of identity through your music.
Yeah.
And we'll start off in release order.
Ooh.
Your music.
Yeah.
Which I wrote down because I don't have a printer.
That's okay. You hand wrote it.
I hand wrote it, so I'll never forget them. Okay. So first, I want to talk about your musical influences because I want to know, number one, what's your dream label? And number two, for your musical influences that are infused into your music, are they the same ones of the artists that you listen to day in and day out?
Good question. Okay, I think that the first thing you said, dream label, like, I don't dream of labels anymore.
Okay.
I don't.
I love that. Because
everything, like, I think about it, a label is an investor to your music. There is a certain point I may or may not believe. I don't know yet. Let's get there when we get there. But there is a certain point that there may be a glass ceiling that you need the label to be like, come on up. Like, and you need to get there with them. But it's at this point, being so small, it's an investor. And in my business, I don't need an investor at this point. In my literal clothing business, that's doing great. I'm still doing everything. You know what I mean? And my music business not even close to there yet. And for a label to come in and take a chunk and do all this, and maybe an indie label, maybe for connections, but I don't know. But I used to dream of like Satisfactory. I think I would work so well there. No. And yeah, literally, I'm like, Phoebe Bridges, if you're watching. I'm like the camera. I'm like, but yeah, because just with Muna, like you said, my musical influences, Muna, like Ed Sheeran before when I was in high school, and then before that, Pierce the Veil. And what?
Yes.
Come on. I think what I took from each of them is like Pierce the Veil, the music, the detail in the music was incredible. And it's anthemic. And it is pop.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, it is so anthemic, and all of your music is very anthemic.
Yes.
Continue, sorry.
And like Troye Sivan and stuff like that. Like, I have aesthetic influences and I have musical influence. Like, you know what I mean? And then people who hit all of them, I'm like, okay, like Muna, like Troye Sivan, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like Princess Nokia's fashion was like so to me, you know what I mean? And that, like, love their music. There's just a lot of different sectors of like what I look up to that I want to put all together.
Hell yeah.
And
you do it really well.
Yeah, like grungy aesthetic, that thing that is rebellious, but I don't make that type of music but you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like putting it all in one is really alluring to me.
You're a subgenre, and you always will be.
Just like a subgenre. I'm just like literally going for like radio pop, and I'm like just like so.
I'm so you can't even.
No, but literally that's Muna's like thing, because they're queer. They have their merch. That's like greatest band in the world.
Yes,
because it's
I own it.
Exactly.
I own it.
Somebody grab it. No, because it's their joke. That's like we might not ever be able to be that because we are queer.
Yeah. Wow.
You know what I mean? So I love that for them, of like that thing. And it's like, I am radio pop, and if I was just like a literal straight man, it would be literal radio pop if I wasn't singing about like what I'm singing about, because that's what's in my heart, because I'm trans. But it is that, but it's indie and like underground because I'm trans, and it doesn't have to be.
We had some technical difficulties.
You come back sweating, you're like,
I was gonna try to hide it, and then I was like, you know what? It's more fun if the fans know. You know what I mean? That one camera decided to turn off.
Camera shit the bed.
And it gave me time to pull up a shirt.
Yeah. Greatest band in the world. Like, I didn't get it, and then they explained it, and I was like, oh, fuck.
Oh, I didn't even know until you just told me.
Like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool of them.
I love that of them.
Because I believe that. It's my favorite band.
Did they comment on your post or something? I feel like they did.
They did. It was for my first single, Redefined, and I was just like, what if something sounded like something, and then they were trans, and like I just played the song then, and they just said yes, and I was like,
and you were like,
no, because it was someone was being nasty in the comment section, and they were like, is Muna in the room with us? Because I was like, what if Muna and the 1975 like something did something
yeah.
great.
Oh yeah.
And I think Muna was like saw that and replied to that, but just sort of said yes in general. I still don't know what they meant. I'll think about it all the time.
Hey Muna, you want to tell us what you meant?
Do you think I'm good? Do you think I'm gonna be?
Do you think I'm gonna be famous? Speaking of,
I want to do merch for them.
Oh,
I want to do merch.
Muna merch.
Muna.
This is going on social media. Okay, so you just mentioned Redefined, which is the song that Muna just
first single.
Muna comment on. First single. Yes. I love how we talked about how this is an anthem, and it's about like you reclaiming your power.
Yes.
And you talk about I'm somebody I like. I tried to kill everything that hates me. You showed me that was a person they made me. Maybe I don't need to be right because I'm somebody I like.
Yeah.
I love that because it's so easy to be very hardened by the world.
Yes. And
you want to be very reactive and angry.
Yes.
And while there can be a place for that and make good social change, you also don't want that to be your baseline. You don't want that to be your baseline.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can't be rotting. You can't let the rotted world like rot you from the inside.
Yes.
And that's what I realized was going on. And I was like, I can't be like holding all of this, you know? And the song's called Redefined because it's like, you made me feel queer person. It's about just the first queer person that I ever met. It's about my very first girlfriend. And it's just like, you made me feel like I'm redefined. It's that first queer person you ever meet in a small town where you feel seen. And you're like, oh, like I try to kill everything that hates me. You showed me that was a person they made me. I'm not an inherently nasty, like, and I'm not some, like, you know, what a conservative person would say, like some idiot, some bleeding heart liberal, it's berating to be a fish and that's the water. Yeah. You know?
To be a fish and
that's the water. It's like gross and you feel disgusting about yourself by the time you get to college and you're so angry. You still have all that anger in there. And I remember talking to my friend about this song and I was so focused on what is my first single. I've been focused on what is my first single since before I transitioned. Like, it means the world to me, right? So I was talking to, like, you know, small little labels, and we kept writing stuff, and I was like, this is not it. This is not it. And someone came to me at the market, and they were my manager for a little while, and they were very great. Did not work out. But they had me release this. I sent it to them, and they went, this is a good pop. You sent me a good pop song. This is actually a good pop song. They were, like, blown away. And I'm very proud of these lyrics. Because I feel like the pinnacle of a pop song to me is when the lyrics are powerful, and it's danceable and it's anthemic, and I think that's the only way that a trans person is gonna break through, besides Kim Petras because she's amazing. But like that is how you're gonna hit the heart and and the pop thing as a trans person. To me, I'm like, it needs to say something. I can't be an artist who's not like saying anything powerful and moving. You know what I mean? And like Kim Petras is powerful and moving in her own way.
Yes.
So not to say, but like,
yes,
it's just, I just needed to say something like that's hurtful.
It's so apparent. And you had an interview with Paper Magazine, King. And in it, you said, I wrote this down.
Like, I have the receipts?
I have receipts. In it, you said, I just hope people love the song and find it cathartic. And that if I ever get to play it live for a bunch of people, it feels like gay church.
That's another Muna thing.
It is.
Because
it is.
They are always like gay church, and that is so inspiring to me. That's what I'm writing about. I'm making this metaphor of queerness being worshipable. Like, I've been told to worship in church, and I'm like, fuck, I'm not. No, nobody wants to do that. No, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. I don't want to do that. I don't believe in like that. I believe in spirituality, but it's very, very lore to me. You know, and it's just like used in such a hurtful way so often.
But then, bringing it full circle, I got to see you perform this song at the Abbey, which is, they have a chapel. So it really was basically gay church.
No,
and one of my favorite parts, and I appreciated it when I was listening to the song at first, but I just wanted to cry when I heard it live. Aww. It was, I want to drive through the South screaming out, come and try to hurt me now. Oh, that was so powerful to sing. Like, that was so powerful to sing in Los Angeles, like because I'm like, we also think of trying to keep ourselves in safe spaces. And you said, screw the safe space, babe, let's go to the scariest part of the country. And because you make me feel powerful, and now I feel seen, and I feel loved, and like, I was like, that was gay church. You did it. Like, you already have done it. You're going to do it again. But like, how was that experience for you? Like, your first full performance?
That was really, really cool because it was the video that you took. I heard the crowd at the end singing Redefined. And I was like, wait, hold on. Play that back. The crowd. That is the crowd. I was like, wait. Like, no way. And like, I was sort of looking above the crowd because I'm like, I'm not gonna stay. Like, I don't know. But I'm like, if I look down for a second, I was like, there's a lot of like, I'm in a club. I'm in the biggest club in LA, and I'm playing. And this is what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? I had that moment on stage where I was like, this is what I'm trying to do right now, and I'm doing it. You know? And I was like, whoa, okay. Yeah. But I want to talk about that line that you said, the through the South screaming out. Do you want to know a secret?
What?
That in the like project, I'll just copy a track if I want to do another take or something. And I was crying when I first wrote that lyric. So there's about 50 tracks that have been deleted now because I comped it, but like it's just a crying take. And I remember that because I copied that one take I did so many times because I was so moved by that thought of just like, like, and it's like, I don't think any artist, if they're like, I love what I wrote, is ever tooting their own horn.
Yeah.
Because it's not me. I'm not writing it. Like, someone else is, it's just coming through. You know what I mean? I'm not like, and I thought that was so clever. Like, no. That was really beautiful for that to be channeled through me and come out. You know what I mean?
It just had to be expressed. That's what it felt like. It wasn't self-indulgent at all. No. It was very... I am so elated by this feeling that I have to get it out of my body. Like, I have to express it in some way.
And just I'm such a like, I'm always thinking about like the aftermath of the song coming out and like them playing it, and I'm like, that is gonna be so exciting. I'm always thinking about some queer kid in the Midwest and how they're gonna react, and I'm writing for them. You know what I mean? So when I'm thinking about that line, I'm like, that's what I would want to hear if I was stuck. If I was 16 and I was stuck in my town and I had 1 day and 3 hours to go to a concert that night, and I could sing that in a room like Muna, like in a room full of queer people. Yeah. I want to drive with you right through this, and you're looking around and come on. Yeah. Like that. That I can't wait.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Especially, and you talk about it a lot in your songs. Yeah. You utilize religion as a way to tell the story. Mm-hmm. And your next song, Safe and Holy,
yeah,
which is right here when I can get to it. You use a lot of that. Yeah. And saying, I think I found in my religion in the way that you want me. Yeah. I'd give up my cynicism just to worship your body. Yeah. If loving you is called sinning, God, I'm just being honest. I thought I knew what I wanted. Yeah. And you're so safe and holy. I don't want anyone else. The way you hold my body's got me coming home to itself. Yeah. I love that like seeing religion and being like, how can I use it to empower me rather than oppress me? Ooh. You know what I mean?
Hold on a minute. That was cool.
Okay. Yeah. What drew you to utilizing so many religious motifs and references in your music specifically?
I still have yet to figure that out. Isn't that crazy? Like, I think it's the rebellion in me. I think it's that punk ass thing that's like, I'm going to make this so beautiful. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think in a lot of my music, I have this image of like, oh, okay, like, you know, it's just me and queer people in a room by ourselves. But really, I want conservative people to be listening through the crack in the door and going, maybe we've been kind of fucked up. Because I'm saying, you're so safe and holy. I don't want anyone else. The way you hold me has got my body. It's objectively positive. Like, how can you turn that and twist it into something so crude? Mm-hmm. That's, I think, the place I really write from. Yeah. And that's where I'm referencing the oppression of it. Because I'm like, you can't if you try. You can't, because it's just beautiful. And it just is.
Did you write this song after the first release came out? What was the songwriting process of making this?
Redefined. I showed you the demo, the fucked up little demo. Like, I met that manager and I got it together and released it in a couple weeks. Like, I just finished it and it went so easily and effortlessly. Safe and Holy I've had from when I was in New York. Wow. You know? And I'm looking at my songs, I was like, this feels like the second single. But Redefined and Safe and Holy are from New York. 2 years before I moved here, so 2 years ago. Like, those, I am a rewriter and a rewriter until it feels right, you know? Because realistically, like, one song could do so good and be the song. And if I'm thinking about my first single, I'm putting my whole back into it. You know what I mean? And at that point I was. So I was being so detailed. And I was thinking of every lyric. And I'm really proud of the lyrics in Redefined. And with Safe and Holy, I was like, it's a pop song. Let's let it breathe. But I still am very happy with it. But I was like, okay, but it feels like a secession of, okay, we met our first queer person. Yeah. I feel like I'm not a piece of shit anymore. And then Safe and Holy is like, okay, this is my first love. This is my first queer love. And I'm like coming home to myself for the first time. Like, this is crazy. You know, like, I didn't know I could feel this way. That's how I felt about transness too, transitioning. And I feel like it can be seen in that way of you're saying to yourself, like, you're so safe and holy. Yeah. I don't want anyone else besides who I am now. Yeah. You know?
I love that so much. Yeah. Did you start with the melody or the lyrics? When you usually write, do you do melody or lyrics first?
So I will often, I'll come up with a hook first a lot of times, but on Safe and Holy, I had everything else written and I kept going back to the hook. The, you're so safe and holy. I was like, something about that needs to be tweaked. And I tweaked it so many times in so many different melodies. And I finally got that chorus. Yeah. But usually I'm such a melody person. And I'm always going for pop. I'm always going for anthemic and what people want to listen to. And it's usually a concept or the hook, the literal hook. And I'm building backwards from that.
You went from these anthemic, beautiful songs that are all dancey, very pop, very about reclaiming your power. And now you're in your ballad era.
I'm feeling. I'm like taking like a little robe and I'm
off the shoulder.
You know, what if?
Showing a little, like, oh. And this is my favorite song, Aww. Loving You Can't Save Me. Yeah. You just released it today, Trans Day of Visibility, March 31st. Yeah. And it's full circle because Redefined you released on Trans Day of Visibility.
A year ago today.
A year ago. which I think is really beautiful. And it's funny that you go from reclaiming your power to then recognizing a lot of trauma that you had from the past.
Because that's a part of the fucking process.
Yes.
After you're like taking your top off and swinging it around, sometimes you go home and you're like, no, but I couldn't do that before, and that's up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I was not having this good of a time my whole time.
Yeah.
Like, that's up.
Yeah.
You know?
This line I can't get out of my head. You start off and you talk about how, like, if you don't mind if I bring it up, left a suicide note and nobody came to talk to me.
Yeah, taking a 180
You took a 180 and I was like, oh my God. So you're like leaving a note where you're like, I'm done with this world.
Yeah.
And I have definitely been super depressed and been in those places. Yeah. And I was like, if I had left a note and no one said anything, like,
the audacity.
The audacity. Number one, I'm really cute.
I'm right upstairs.
Number 2, I'm right upstairs.
Number 3, I need dinner. Did you bring it home? Number 4, there's a note. Did you see it?
Did you see it? Can you read?
And all you said was yes.
All you said yes. And like, I just love your vulnerability and your ability to like be able to put it into words. And then you saying, I think you hate me more than I love myself. Mm-hmm. And that line, I like can't, because I think no matter who you are, loving yourself is a journey. Yeah. And I don't know how to fight when I'm not passionate about something. Yeah. So if someone's really passionate about hating me, I don't even know how to fight back if I am like, I don't have anything inside. Like I don't have anything that I'm like passionate enough about. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. How is this experience working on this ballad and being this vulnerable? Were you scared? Were you excited?
I was excited because this is how I used to write. Mm-hmm. My whole life was all at the piano, just at the guitar. And then like transitioning, I went, oh, like my voice is like rocky right now. Mm-hmm. And I learned how to produce because I was like, I need to mask it a little. I need to whatever it a little bit. Mm-hmm. And that I went to write on there all the time then, just on the computer. And I would start with a synth. I would do whatever. And I'd be like, I'm looking for that first single. And I'm looking for that second single. And this is one I found just in my little archives when I was looking in like December or something. And I went, girl, this is done. Like this is finished. And this is great. And it was one of those songs where I just went, I'm just going to put it out. Like, wow. This wasn't in some big, like, this is the third single. I was like, this needs to be said. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm like, and I'm it's gonna be on the radio. Like, no, it's just powerful. And I'm thinking always of that Midwestern queer kid or that queer kid in the South or even freaking upstate New York, everywhere in America, who needs to maybe hear this thing and be like, no, that is not fair. And what you said about that, I think you hate me more than I love myself, is like the only way that person can actually make you feel like shit is if you believe it. Yeah. Like, and if you love yourself enough, which is what those first songs are about and what hope, like Muna and all of that is like fostering, is that no one could ever knock you down like that. Like, someone called me a faggot in West Hollywood and I was on the phone and I was like, that was weird.
You're like, I'm in WeHo. Gay heaven. What's happening?
Yeah, and I was like, okay, minority. I was like,
yeah, okay, minority.
Literally, I was like, okay. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't affect you as much because you're like, this doesn't faze me. I'm safe.
We've won.
We've won.
We've won here.
We've won.
This is our kingdom. Like, I'm like, you're done. Yeah. And you know you're done.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't get called a faggot in my hometown, but I get called a faggot here.
Interesting.
Because you're grabbing up from hell and trying to drag me down. I'm like,
wow.
Oh, ew.
Ew.
No. Yeah.
I love that.
Can't. You can't.
I love
Sorry.
that.
I'm actually eating strawberries right now. Like, I'm too busy.
Yeah.
I don't have time for you anymore.
I also think it's really powerful when you talk about I'm killing all your ghosts to be who I am now. Mm-hmm. Who are you killing your past selves, or is it like who is the person that you're talking to?
Often I'm talking about like the culture, all of the ghosts the voices in your head that have been created, where if you're insecure, they're like, yeah, and you fucking should be. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's coming in and is going like, people might not like that. Or that is like, are you sure you really want to transition? You're going to be a freak. Like, you know, no one's ever
Sorry,
gonna date
really...
you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, no one's ever gonna date you. No one's ever gonna. You're gonna be a like half blank. Those are the ghosts that are ricocheting in my head.
Wow.
It's not even necessarily. My dad did not walk up to me and was like, "No one's gonna date."
Yeah.
Do I feel like he might think? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do I feel like my family might be like, "Who would ever?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's you have an energy from people,
mm-hmm.
and they create these stories, and then you have to get rid of that. And every queer person, sadly, even if they grew up super accepted, when they jump into the culture outside of their house, they're realizing that most people, they're not loved by everyone. Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And that hurts.
That does really hurt. I think that's why I feel like a lot of queer people are very self-aware and very, it's like, you know when you get like perceived, you know when you get like, you have such an old soul, and it's like, no, I have trauma, bestie.
No, yeah, I'm actually like so chronically aware of my every move that I've actually thought about so many times that it's I feel wise to you.
Yes,
but
correct. But really, it's just because I had to grow up fast.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's.
Yeah. I love that. Killing all the ghosts. There's a book called Untamed by Glennon Doyle.
Cool.
And she talks about like having to burn all of your past selves, and that was at least most difficult for me. Is like, I used to wear straight hair. You know what I mean? Whoa. And like now I have curly hair, and like I had to burn all these like preconceived notions of myself before. Yeah. And you have done that a million times. And that's at least how it spoke to me.
That is so cool.
When I was reading that. But I love because those are like ghosts. They are past thoughts and past beliefs and past things. True. Yeah. But they're killing off.
When I think of you and your beautiful curly hair, that's my favorite thing and first thing I think about you.
Oh, thank you.
So it's like those parts of me are now why I'm working with Machine Gun Kelly. Yeah. Why I'm working with all these artists. So that's kind of interesting. You know what I mean? It's like, that the thing that these people are trying to out of you is the thing that's going to get you ahead. Is the thing that people love about you and the most important thing about you. Yeah. You know?
Did you want to say anything else about this song?
I don't think so. I think it's just like I want like people to feel like they can honor that sadness and not just be like, and I'm in West Hollywood now. Yeah. Like, you can't heal if you're still so pissed off and you're still, you have to remove it. You can't just be like, and life is good now. Ha 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 ha. Like, just like, no, because you're not still good. I'm not still good. That's why I'm still writing about it. Yeah. You know?
And it helps you to process.
Completely. Like, even listening to this sometimes, like, in my head, I'm still like, I didn't really feel that way. I was exaggerating.
I do that all the time. I realized I was talking to my therapist, and I realized that I'm somehow went back to denial of my depression. Right. I don't know when I got back there. I'm like, I was like a student advocating for mental health empowerment in college. And I was like, I'm depressed and I'm owning it. And then now I'm back to like 27 years old and I'm denying it. Yeah. And so it's like, you can still go through those cycles of growth and different phases of your life.
Yeah. And I think that's some ghosts I still need to kill because the number one thing I think about this is my family would not think that this happened and they would just. Yeah. So it's very hard as an artist to even write about it and then put it out and then be like, my family just a couple weeks ago was like, we heard your single. It's been a year. We saw your article. It was circulating around the family. And I was like, girl, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not even, y'all didn't. Even a year ago, I sent it to my dad, and it was his job to circulate.
You never leave a man to do anything.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, you
never leave
know.
a father.
Literally. I was like, so this is not, I mean, thank you, but also it's just actually like, it hurts a little. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. I don't talk to any of you guys. Yeah. And it's reminding me of the reason. It's not because they're like late with this. It's just, there are reasons I don't talk to them. It's because of this. I felt othered, you know? Yeah.
Did you want to talk about your other song? Ooh, Here Comes the Storm. Yeah. Okay, I don't have the lyrics for that, but I've listened to it multiple times. Yeah. I love the progression of these anthems, this love, this looking back at your past and having to kill ghosts, and then you recognizing that there's a reckoning coming, and this is where Here Comes the Storm comes in.
Oh, that's cool.
And you're like, I want you to hold me just like you did when during the storm.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it's like it's similar to the asking for help now. Like I'm finally, I think that's,
said, my God, I finally asked for help.
That's in Loving You Can't. I was like, oh yes, fine. And now you're telling people and you're saying, I asked for help in Loving You Can't Save Me, but then here comes the storm. Is when I'm telling you, like, it is coming and I'm gonna need you.
No, yeah, like I am coming out. Like you, like this. Here Comes the Storm is about. It's not about my life. It's about I had a girlfriend, a situationship, and she was Muslim, and her parents are from Bangladesh, and her parents, it was like the perfect little relationship she had with them. It was, hi Papa, like it was like, hi Dad, hi Mom, like oh my God, like kisses, like so sweet. She is this like perfect daughter, like amazing grades in school, you know what I mean? Just like exactly what like they wanted her to be, you know, except for being queer. And I met her at a time in her life where she was reconciling with, oh my God, I'm queer. And oh my God, like my parents are not gonna be okay with that. Like, and I would come over, they would make me like butter chicken, gulab jamun. We'd be
Did they know you were queer?
Yeah. All of her friends were queer.
Okay, so they
it was the elephant in the
had
room.
already shown acceptance for that.
Exactly.
But she still felt internalized, they might not accept me.
She hears how the whole family, it's with the, you know, it's like the aunties and the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's going to be talked about, and then it might not even be that they don't accept, but it's that the community, it was in Queens, New York, is so close-knit that someone's going to talk about, and then it could put in danger. It is so complex and sad. And I hope that I'm sure she's come out by now, and I hope it's okay. I'm sure it is okay. I'm sure there's a little weird point, just like my dad, and then it was like, oh, it's fine. You know what I mean? But I just wrote it from that place of like, oh my God, you had to go through this. Like the first line is, Mom, I've got a confession. I think I've got to go. Like, Dad, I got to tell you something. Like, y'all are not going to like this.
Yeah.
And the chorus is that line of like, here comes the storm. Like, I hope you hold me as you did when it was thundering, like in a storm or whatever, because I'm still that same kid now. Like, I'm still coming out to you as that kid that you would hold when it was like thunderstorming and be like, it's okay, and like, you know,
just because the outside's changing doesn't mean like you're becoming an entirely different person.
Yeah,
like you'll still have the same experiences, the same memories,
yes,
the same
love,
like the same love
kid.
You're just getting to show another part of yourself.
Like my really awesome mustache.
Yeah. Hell yeah. yeah, your hot mustache.
Sorry, I'm like cool and hot now.
Yeah,
like, cooler
cool, hot.
And more confident than I was. Maybe.
Hell yeah.
Like,
hell yeah.
And what? You know, it's just my fucking dad is crazy, and I love him. He's like very much accepts me, and he's like really big supporter. So he'll be like out at the bar, and his friends will tell me, never him, in true dad fashion.
True dad fashion.
Like, he will never come up to me and be like, I am proud of you. I love, like, you know what I mean? But he will say, well, he does say that, but it's like he's not like, by the way, I just want you to know once again, it's just very like standoffish, you know? He doesn't know what to say.
It's hard to be vulnerable.
It is. And he is out at the bar with his friends and he's gushing about me. And his friends are, I'm on the phone with them because I talk to, like, you know what I mean? It's like some of them I really like. It's like my mom's friends and stuff that I'm still really close with, and he's there and he's like, she literally decided she was a man, went to fucking LA, and like he's just like, he's such a badass, and he calls me Jay, and I realized the other day that people called him Jay when he was a kid, cause Jaworski, like last name, everyone called him Jay, and I was like, you call me, cause like, stop it. Like, I was like in the middle of Trader Joe's and I was like, oh my God, like that's so cute.
That's really and that's just like another way of showing love is by calling you the name that other people used to refer to him as.
Like, that's so cute.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Because he did track and they say last names there.
Yeah.
So it was like Jaworski, but I think people Jay. I was like, you're so cutie for that, because he has like an accent. So when he says Jasper, it's like Jasper. Like it just doesn't. It would never come naturally for him to say that. So yeah, it's just really fucking sweet how but yeah, like on the topic of him, like people being like, oh yeah, it's like a totally different person. He had the audacity when I first came out.
Yeah.
He was at his best friend's brother's funeral, and they went to the bar after, you know, the ceremony. After the celebration of life.
Celebration of life.
After the funeral.
Celebration of life.
Yeah. And they were like, and my dad is like, I guess, deeply thinking about whatever, because I guess funerals make you do that. And he's actually sitting there, and he's like, you know what? My daughter died. And my like, his friend is like, are you kidding me? And like, put him in his place. And then I show up to the bar later, and he's fucking sobbing. He gives me a big hug. Because his friend had to be like, that is not what happened. Your kid is like 5 minutes away right now, is driving here, is completely safe, is completely happy, happier than ever, by the way. And you're sobbing about for what? You know what I mean? What? Maybe I don't like Pink. I've never liked Pink. What are you losing here?
Yeah.
Losing nothing, gaining everything.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy. So yeah, I just think a lot of parents, if they didn't see like gender performance as losing something.
Yes.
Like, what are you losing?
You're not losing. You're gaining. If anything, you're gaining a child that loves themselves.
They got a better haircut, and they're probably more emotionally intelligent.
Correct.
Like, what?
Correct. Also good that he had someone he was surrounded by that could call him out on something like that.
Instantly. He was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
And put him in his place so much that when I walked in, he was in tethers and gave me a big hug and like held me like he had lost me and got me back or something. It was like the one time he's like giving me, it's usually like a side hug, like, what's up, Chief? And I'm like, Chief, you don't need to,
Chief comes back round again.
Yeah, right. Boss.
So now that we've come to this part in the narrative,
yeah.
When does this come out, number one?
Okay, I'm thinking end of May, early June, because I have 2 songs for Pride. This is the ballad one. This is the one that, this song's gotten me into every fucking room I've ever been in. Like, every cis white man in the industry who has heard this song has been like, you know, he's got something, I could sell this. But it's like so powerful because I think I made something that everyone knows that story. That is the queer story.
Yeah. And
sometimes something so simple just really gets through. And I think that's what they saw in it. So this is a big release for me to finally let that song out. I had this song for a long time. Maybe like since college, before I transitioned.
Wow.
Like, this has been just, like, it's been done for so long. It just, it means so much to me to finally be. So, I'm pairing it with this pop song that I'm really excited about. I guess I'm in an era of religion or something, or like.
Your religious era.
Running the you know how they say sometimes, like, in art, you have to run the faucet and the brackish water has to come out before the.
I just saw this the other day.
Yeah, I think the brackish water is Catholic themes, and then the true that maybe the purer stuff is gonna come. But right now, I have to yell about this, and I have to say like, this is unjust, and maybe I'll say that forever. Maybe that's my message. But right now, I'm just like the hook in this one is she's my religion. I don't keep it in the bedroom, and that could be. I mean, the chorus is very generic. It's very much like. You ought to know why we're right back. Call me when you're drunk. I wanted more. And it's very just this like pop. So it's one of my favorite ones I've written. I'm so excited to release it. And it's literally just like this story. I thought of that. You know that movie, Perks of Being a Wallflower?
Yeah.
The jock and the other guy who is like secretly seeing each other. That's what it's about. I wrote the song about that story of like, okay, one only really wants to hook up under wraps. And it's like, no. And that is such a typical queer story in, again, like the Midwest or the South. It's like, we can't just be queer. And the energy of it is like, no, like, she's my world and life. Like, I'm not keeping this in the bedroom. That's crazy, you know? But it also, because of pronoun use there, just comes off as a straight song. So it could just be some fucking guy in the Midwest who is straight and is like, she doesn't like me as much as I like her. Yeah, like
it's relatable. Cool. It's unrequited love.
Yes, you know,
basically.
Yeah, and it's like
a story we all know too well.
Yes, it's like sexy. It's like ooh. It's been a hot summer. Like, let's get in the back of my car. Like, it's like ooh, it's so fun. I can't wait to do the music video too.
I'm so excited.
I get to be sexy for the first time.
Oh my gosh.
The other ones were deeper topics, and this one I get to just be like.
We get to kiki. We get to have fun.
Yeah, I get to be sexy and like be a little crazy.
Where can people follow you? Where can people find you?
Oh my gosh. Okay, it's so simple. Jasper on the internet.
Okay.
My artist name is Jasper, and I'm on the internet. That's it. Every single handle: TikTok, Instagram. Jasper on the internet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more interviews with your favorite artists on My Orange Couch. Thank you for putting up with all the technical difficulties. We're romanticizing the beginning. We are romanticizing the beginning. Once again, thank you, Jasper, for coming, and roll credits. Credits.